Welcome back to the Pulse. Let's settle for the rest of our stories. And Deputy Commissioner of Shraj, Richard Kwesing, says the high expectations of Ghanaians after the establishment of the Office of the Special Prosecutor has been dashed, as they are now awake to the fact that the Office of the Special Prosecutor alone cannot achieve the intended results. He was speaking at the launch of the Mitogu Anti-Corruption Report by Pen Plus Byte Ghana, which revealed that 7 out of every 10 Ghanaians believe government is not doing enough to fight corruption. Mr. Kwesing said until Ghanaians begin to see the results of the work of the Special Prosecutor, the perception of corruption in the country will continue to rise.
Merely establishing the office, it will not mean that there will be a decline. The office has to start working. The office has to start producing results. That's what the public want to see. Once they begin to see the results, that is when they'll be persuaded that indeed something or much is being done. Consistently, we are not doing enough. Now the public is becoming more and more disillusioned because they have waited for a very long time and the results are not showing. So it may not necessarily be that they are referring to a particular government, but they are referring to years and years of promises and failures, which is now making the public become disillusioned. But when you establish the office, it takes time to build the office together. You even require the board for the office, you require the airline for the office. All those things are important.
Mr. Kwesing is urging Ghanaians to take the lead role in the fight against corruption and stop the cycle of just complaining.
We need to empower the citizens to begin to play their role in the fight against corruption. And we also encourage the citizens themselves also begin to make the demands that are necessary to see that we're able to bring corruption under control, because they are the ones who are most affected by corruption. And I would not want to see a citizen sitting on the fence and waiting, hoping that things will change by themselves. It requires action, citizen participation, citizen demand for results, and these things will then...
The same citizens who are saying that corruption is there should be up and doing.
Yes. I think we should pass the complaining stage. Now we must begin to take steps to address corruption. Everything that everyone can do is a contribution. It's like little drops of water that contribute to make a mighty ocean. Welcome.
It is an unending cycle of corruption, allegations, perceptions, and how we appear to be failing in this regard as a country. Now, joining me in the studio is Michael Boadi, who is Corporate Affairs Manager of the Ghana Integrity Initiative. Good afternoon to you. Very refreshing to see you.
Same to you.
Right. So first of all, let me gauge your mood on what this means to you, or how this research strikes you, that 7 out of every 10 Ghanaians believe that government is doing very little to deal or to fight corruption.
Well, you see, it is not strange that we are having these results. You see, because there has been a certain transition, and I have reminded a lot of people all the time that there is a certain transition from the time where we used to jump on people we perceive to be corrupt. We follow them to churches. We hound them on the streets all the time. We are taking people to courts and so on and so forth all the time, especially when governments change. We have moved away from that over exuberance approach to fighting corruption, to approach where we want the system, the institutions to work. So proper investigation and then proper prosecution and the sanctions if the prosecution is able to secure conviction. So that approach is yet to sink in with many Ghanaians. So it is normal to have people say that, well, nothing is being done. Indeed, the failure, I think that the failure lies more of communication, public education. We need to do a lot more of sensitization, letting people understand that the approach where when government change, we go after our opponents, hound them, chase them in churches, chase them on the streets, seize cars, are not sustainable. The approach, instead, we need to build a more a tight system, a system of integrity, where the system will check people and where people will live by the offices and the oath that they live by. When we do that, I believe we'll solve the problem halfway of dealing with the expectations that people have. And also, I heard also the issue of the special prosecutor, if I may go there.
Coming to that.
Exactly. That expectation is also legitimate because, well, for a very long time, people feel that corruption had hurt us.
And the fact that before the special prosecutor was brought in, we were made to believe that that was the messiah for dealing with corruption. Now we are learning that the special prosecutor alone cannot do the job. So, and that's why I want you to tell us, the special prosecutor, what is the special prosecutor supposed to do, and at what point should the public meet the special prosecutor halfway? Then we all know that we are dealing with corruption.
Yeah. If you look at the special prosecutor, the law that establishes the special prosecutor has three main functions. One is to investigate corruption, investigate and prosecute corruption. The second function is to retrieve proceeds of crime. When they investigate corruption, whatever is lost to the state, they will recover it. And then the third one is to prevent corruption. So these are three critical objectives that has been set for this thing. If you also read the law carefully, you realize that many of the gaps in previous legislation, that are used to fight corruption, the framers of the law tried to tighten it and deal with the gaps. So the fact that Attorney General will do the investigation, will do the auditing, the Auditor General will do the auditing, and nothing happens. The law, the Special Prosecutor is mandated to take complaints from the Auditor General's report and prosecute. So they deal with that gap that existed with audits and audit findings. The Parliament can make referrals. The Public Accounts Committee can make referrals to the exactly, so they can deal with it. We've talked a lot about procurement challenges, corruption regarding procurement. The Special Prosecutor is supposed to deal with procurement-related corruption, and so on. So the gaps that existed in various laws regarding that we passed previously to deal with corruption, the special prosecutor comes in to deal with. But you see, when we say that corruption is not, the special prosecutor will not end it all, understandably so, somebody would have to report to the special prosecutor.
Right.
You and I. So if you go to the Whistleblowers Act, it says that when you suspect that corruption had taken place, when you are a victim of corrupt practices, or when you witness corruption, you have to report. So this is where the citizens would play a good role, because the special prosecutor is not everywhere. So we say Joy FM, and please, I couldn't use any other word, but say Joy News goes to sign a contract with an entity and signs a dubious contract. You, as a citizen, would have to go and report.
But in this instance, and you had Mr. Kwesing there saying that citizens must go beyond reporting or complaining and really act. So what kind of action is he talking about?
The action is for you to report. You see, the citizen cannot do anything. See, what Mr. Kwesing is talking about is that this thing about we jump on radio, we get on the media, these days, the social media has even made it worse, and complain, this person is corrupt, this person is corrupt, and doing nothing is what is worrying. We need to move beyond the complaints and go and formally report. So there are so many mechanisms. If you take the Auditor General, the Auditor General's website is there for you to report corruption. If you come to Ghana Integrity Initiative, we have a toll-free lines that we encourage people to report. The Whistleblowers Act gives us a lot of places where we can report. The police is there. Let's report corruption and help them investigate.
There's been issues with this whistleblower report, for instance, act, because one of the things this act is supposed to do is, apart from rewarding you, the reporter, is to protect you. Have we had that over the years? And people are scared that my life is in danger. I go and report a criminal activity or a dubious activity of a politician. He's so powerful and nobody is there to protect me. So I put myself in danger. So I rather stay away. Well,
this is where I say that, yes, people who are complaining that government, and I don't mean this or the any particular government, but government as an institution had not done enough, is that, yes, legitimately people are afraid of reporting. And that is why we have the Witness Protection Bill that has also been sitting in Parliament for God knows how long. Parliament is, and we, the anti-corruption agencies, our anti-corruption institutions keep reminding government and encouraging government that if indeed you want the citizens to support you, then give them certain guarantees that when they do support or report corruption, they would be protected. And therefore, the Witness Protection Bill ought to be passed. We have said it over and over and over. So this, from that angle, yes, I think government is not doing enough. But it also does not mean that government is not doing nothing. Government is doing something, but not enough.
Okay. But not enough. So yes, and that's what the people said. They said they are doing very little. So it means that they are not meeting our expectation. Well, in what way can the public join in the fight? And we've been hearing from Michael Boadi on how you and I can join the fight. But let's see what you've been saying on the street, because we hit the street with the question, will you be willing to bribe your way out of trouble? Let's see what you've been saying.
I would rather pay them and like move, because I don't trust the courts. I feel like it's going to take a very long process, and paying for that long process would be way more money.
Situation. What I'm going to do is just give the tip and then leave.
You don't want to go through the normal process?
No, because our court process is overdue, that it's going to take time before I'll be allowed to go out. But with that one, I'll just give out the 5 cedis. So I'll go to wherever I'm going.
In my situation, if my license is good, all my papers are good, I will not bother myself to pay 5 cedi or 10 cedi for a policeman. But the reason why we drivers pay 5 cedi is that maybe my insurance is expired, my license is not good.
So you prefer to go to court?
No, because when I go to court, they will fine me a huge amount. I can't pay it, so that I will give the policeman 5 cedi, 10 cedi, and I go free. But if I know all my papers are good, I will not pay any money. I will go straight to court.
And of course, rightly, you heard people from the street expressing how frustrating sometimes it is. And you are even forced to pay these monies because the institutions that are supposed to do their work are not doing it. In Ghana today, I can tell you, it's about who you know and not about how the system works. And you have an issue with somebody at the police station. You know that you are totally right, but the police will frustrate you because the other party who is actually guilty is paying some money at the back door. So, I mean, sometimes you think that it's the institutions themselves that are even forcing people to be corrupt.
Well, I think that it's not just the institution, because you see, I think we keep talking about institution as if the institution is somewhere and we are somewhere. People are somewhere. We make up the institution.
Okay.
Institution, the whole makeup of it starts from the home.
Okay.
A family is an institution. What are you doing as a family? And then it builds up to the formal.
Like the Ghana Police.
Yes, so then it builds up to the formal.
Exactly.
The kind of regulations we put in place, the sort of supervisions, and how the institution, the individuals within the institutions function, and the sanctioning regime thereof.
Yeah.
You understand? It all contributes to whether the institution would work well or not. There are institutions that, you know, are currently in this country, which all of a sudden are transformed themselves and they are doing well. There are some institutions where once upon a time they were fully government or public institutions. Then at some point they became, they were privatized.
Okay.
And those institutions turned around and they are doing well. How are they able to do well? They are able to do well because there is some supervision. They are able to do well because for them, people's remuneration, they are tied to their performance. And so there is somebody standing there checking and making sure that you're doing the right thing. If you do the right, you and I have a responsibility to ensure that people do the right thing. We are quick to pay. You understand? We are quick to pay whatever people demand because we think that, we want our service, The problem is that those who can afford to pay are paying. And those who cannot afford to pay, are suffering. Then we who can afford to pay, by virtue of the fact that we also have the pen, the disposition to radio and media, we go and complain. But we are the same people who are paying. I believe that if you stop paying, I stop paying, and begin to question people and demand accountability, Ghana will change. And that is why Mr. Kwesi is saying that we should stop complaining and begin to act. We must begin to demand accountability. Citizens are not angry enough.
Okay.
With our bureaucrats. And we are, because whatever we need, because we can afford to pay, we readily pay.
For me, I think that I will differ on that line because it looks like apathy has set in because if people keep on complaining and nothing is done about the situation, I mean, people become relaxed and they're like, I'm not going to talk again because even if I talk, nobody listens to me.
Well, I think that at least somebody, when we were all complaining about GFA, somebody decided to act. So we also, in our own way, can act. I think that it is not like, we need to do something about our situation. I will give you an example. I said, look, I was driving and then I was stopped by a policeman. And then the policeman, Bibi. I said, no, I won't do anything. And that it is wrong. And then I started, and then I'm like, please, go. You two know people.
Yeah.
If everybody refused to do the wrong thing, I believe those who are demanding the wrong thing will do the right thing.
I can also give you an instance where somebody tried to bribe a junior police officer. He refused to take the bribe. Then the person bypasses the junior to go and bribe his boss, and he takes the bribe, and then the junior policeman found himself in trouble.
Well, but there are avenues for which the junior policeman can seek redress. See, the beautiful thing is that this country does not lack regulations. What we haven't done is that we haven't enforced the regulation. We haven't taken advantage or tested the laws. And that is part of the complaining thing. Okay, the junior officer feels that, well, I'll be victimized if I say anything. So, well,
yeah.
So then the junior officer leaves it. But you see, the junior officer...
And that's the reality.
No, but
reality.
It doesn't happen that way. The junior officer, believing that he's doing the right thing, should go to PIPs. You can even go to court. You see, the truth, the reality is that everybody is tired of corruption. We seem to be helpless with what to do, but we hate it. We believe that it is wrong.
Yeah.
What we need to do is to take our helplessness to a different level and begin to question authority, begin to act, begin to go to court. Because once upon a time, when you needed something from government and government says no, but there was some group who calls themselves Occupy Ghana who decided that, look, I'll go to court whether there is a right to information bill or not. The Article 21 in the Constitution gives me the right to freedom of information.
Right.
So I'll go to the court and demand the information. Yes, they got it. We need to be more active.
Okay, so we need to take the fight to a different level. And I think that the Special Prosecutor's Office will do a lot. And I want to put it in percentage. Yes, the public have a role to play, but the Special Prosecutor maybe has more to do so that the public would also support it so we can get what we're looking for. But one of the issues that have come up is the issue of resources. Is the Office of the Special Prosecutor well resourced to be able to, deliver on its mandate?
Yes. Let me say, before I get to the issue of the resources, let me say, without the cooperation of the citizens, the special prosecutor will also not be able to do anything.
That has been established.
We need to volunteer information. We need to support in the investigation. We need to collaborate with him for the office to be able to deliver. The issue of the resources, yes, in working on the law, it was realized that yes, the issue of resources had plagued nearly all the various investigative bodies, and therefore, what else can we do different in the Office of the Special? The law allows the Office of the Special Prosecutor to retain a certain percentage of all proceeds of crime that it will recover. You understand?
Okay.
This offers an additional resources. It also helps to cure the possibility of somebody going to support the office and therefore compromising the office.
Yeah.
You know, so the Office of the Prosecutor, as much as possible, will retain a percentage of the proceeds of crime that it will recover. And this should be, this in addition to whatever budgetary provisions that will be made to the Attorney General, through the Attorney General, should suffice in the fight against in this
one of the interesting points the Deputy Commissioner, Shraj Commissioner made, and I think to agree with me, is the fact that until we get results, especially from the Special Prosecutor's Office, perceptions that government is doing little to fight corruption will keep on, I mean, it will rise. But the issue is, since the Special Prosecutor's Office came to being, people are expecting the Special Prosecutor to prosecute certain issues that have come. For instance, and I can talk of the latest corruption issue, the GFA issue has come up. There's been other issues that have come up after the setting up of the Special Prosecutor's Office. People want to see the Special Prosecutor doing something. We haven't heard much about the Special Prosecutor since it was established, but before we heard a lot of noise about the office coming in.
Yeah, before he was appointed, he was a free man, so he could speak.
Yes.
But now he is regulated, and whatever he says are regulated by law.
Okay.
You understand? So he can't act as he used to act before he was appointed. But yes, you're right in saying that, you know, you think that the Special Prosecutor is, I don't know, as we speak now, the extent to which the investigation had gone. But if here again refer to the Special Prosecutors Act, it's well within his mandate, okay, to take on the issue, even if the police or another investigative body, the way the Special Prosecutor has been structured, the board, for instance, has been structured in such a way that it will become more or less like a clearinghouse. So you have the police representation, YOCO, Commission of Human Rights, and and even civil society have a rep on the board.
Right.
It has not been inaugurated yet. So, but all these is because of the thinking that, look, if the police may be doing investigation, Yoko may be doing something, but, you know, it may be an investigation of interest to the Special Prosecutor. The Special Prosecutor could coordinate all these investigations and prosecute. So I think it's early days yet with regards to the recent issue that you're talking about. And for me, this recent issue even offers a test case for the Special Prosecutor, because there are so many dimensions to it.
Yeah.
There are so many the issues about possible money laundering, the issue about whatever. So there are so many dimensions. It will be interesting to see how investigation goes, but it's early days yet. You cannot say anything concrete until the investigation advances and we know the direction, or a prima facie case had been built against the individual involved, and then we can actually proceed.
Well, of course, the public
would be a very good case for us
would actually want to see the Special Prosecutor taking interest in these kind of matters. And like you rightly said, he doesn't need to wait for the police to come and furnish him with the information or to ask him to deal with the matter. He can express interest in the matter per the mandate given him. But, I mean, bottom line is the fact that when people give information, and you rightly said that if without the public, the Special Prosecutor cannot do much. And then it comes back to the fact that we need to protect people who give information. This bill, which is lying in Parliament comfortably, that has not been passed, and that also needs to help people to come out and speak. What is your institution, at least the GII, how are you pushing this bill for pushing Parliament to pass this bill into law?
Well, we're engaging with the Committee on Legal and Constitutional Affairs. Fortunately, most of these sunshine laws, we have been contacted to submit memorandum so we are engaging with them. We are contributing or supporting in the review of the law as it is. You know, because of the way the Parliament operates, once the life of a Parliament elapses, a new Parliament will start all over again. So now that the bill has been laid before Parliament, it has to start the process of review. It will go through the first, second, and clause by clause review before it will come for the second review and then the third review and before its passage. So what we are doing is that we are supporting whichever way that Parliament may demand. We did that with the Office of the Special Prosecutor. We supported through the clause by clause review, submitted memorandum and all that. We've done the same with the Right to Information Bill, and the Witness Protection Bill too. We will do.
So what stage are we now?
Currently, it's at the committee level. It's not. It has not
it's
been.
Still crawling.
Yes, it's still very much crawling. Yeah.
All right.
So our information is that
we'll be monitoring with keen eyes.
But let me also just draw your attention to one thing: that the Office of the Special Prosecutor would need to have a complement of staff.
Okay.
We just had the deputy appointed. The LI would have to be passed. The board would have to be set, and then they can now recruit its staff before they can start proper investigation. As it stands now, they would only have to rely on the other investigative bodies to be able to function.
And how long will it take for the LI to be passed? Do you know?
We are also praying and campaigning. We keep reminding government that it is taking too long. We need to see some action. But there is so much that you can push. You don't also want to push so much that will set up something that is not fit for purpose. This is a very special purpose. Corruption is also a very critical or special problem in this country. We need to hasten, but hasten cautiously so that we get something that will deliver the aspirations of all Ghanaians, not just to deliver because it situates well with a certain political promise.
So yes, it has to do with fundamentals, and I think once these fundamentals are put in place, I think we can hit the grounds and get some results. And of course, Mr. Kwesi put it right that until we start getting results, people will keep on complaining and say the government is doing much, and I tend to agree with him.
I think that it's not just results. I also would say that I think government should step up. When I say all of us, not government, but all of us, Mr. Commissioner of Human Rights, NCC, civil society, the media, and all of us to step up the public education. Like I earlier said, we are transitioning from a certain active, exuberant, action-oriented, way of fighting corruption to a more systematic, thorough investigation, mindful of people's human rights, make sure that you have a prosecutable case before you go to court. And when you secure prosecution, ultimately you also want to recover the proceeds of crime. So there is a certain methodological approach now happening than we used to have before. So we need to do a lot of public education so people will understand what is happening, and then we'll also collaborate with the processes going forward.
All right, we'll see how that goes, because corruption is you and I. We all have to. It's a collective responsibility. Many thanks to you, Michael Kwame Boadi. He is the Corporate Affairs Manager at the GII. There is more on the Pulse when we return.